Hannah, can you just tell me about how it's working with you on a day-to-day basis?
I guess I just sleep with men for money. It's definitely to do with the money.
What you are about to hear are stories from students studying at British universities who work in the UK sex industry. The Student Sex Work Project has gathered testimonies from current students and recent graduates over the last 2 years, and in this film we present the true stories of 9 young women. What you're about to see are reconstructions of those original interviews. To protect the students, any identifiable names, places and their courses have been changed, and the students are played by actors. The dialogue, however, is drawn directly from the interview transcripts. Okay. So just to give you your rights as a participant, your data will be protected against the Data Protection Act. You can stop the interview at any point. Most importantly, an actress is going to play you in the film. So the words you say today will be used, but nothing else. So I need your permission. So are you happy to consent to take part?
I consent to take part.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Not messed around the vagina. To make love. Lots of photos. Like so short. I don't think it's an insult to say that I work in the sex industry. When I first started, I did just like underwear shooting. I didn't do fully topless. And then you do implied topless, so you don't have a bra on, but your hands or like objects will cover your nipples. And then you do fully topless. And then you do implied nude, so you're fully nude, but you don't see anything. And then fully nude.
Have you done fully nude?
No, I haven't, but I've thought about it. Like Playboy actually asked me to do a fully nude shoot, like centerfold fully nude. But it's not what they call adult. It's what they call closed leg. So it's not based around the vagina. I'm not the skinniest. I haven't got like the hugest boobs. Like, I'm just all natural. Like, I haven't crazy dieted or anything like that. Like, there's loads of people with like the same body as me or better. I'm just one person with enough balls to do what I do, you know? Like, I think I can take a nice picture, but I know I'm not the best, and I don't try and be the best. I just think if you can act like you are, and that's what makes you get ahead in glamour. Like, you don't walk into a shoot and just go, like, oh, I've got cellulite, I've got saggy boobs. Like, no, you walk in and you just fake it until you make it. Some of the features I've done are, like, bedroom-based. Like, one I've done a few times recently is Girl Next Door. So you're supposed to be a bit more, you know, like, approachable. When I started, and it was like, look at this girl, you'll never get her. Whereas now, shooting takes place in, like, a home setting or picnic or even, like, you know, at work. And then you're asked bedroom questions like, you know, how would a guy get you into bed, or how would he impress you, or what's your favourite sexual position, you know, things like that, you know, sexual questions. But most people my age understand that magazines twist stuff to make it sound better. Like, I'm like, if you believe that the girl in the magazine said that, like, duh.
What about your first shoot? Tell me about that then. What was...
Right, okay, so basically my first shoot was at Glasgow Central train station with my gran, who came, right? And she's at M&S, like, buying, like, sweets and nibbles and that. I'm like, Gran, you'd have to buy a picnic, like, there's a catered lunch, you know? And then but she's like, oh, no, you have to, you can't come empty-handed, like, you've got to have something. So then we get into London Paddington and they send, like, a car, and it's a Mercedes, and she couldn't believe it. And we're in this Mercedes on the way to the shoot, and she's like leaning over, like, because there's like a water dispenser in the car. And she's like, if I'd known there was water in the car, I wouldn't have spent £4 in marks, you know, like making a big deal out of it. And then we get to the shoot, and I'm like topless, and she doesn't even bat an eyelid, like. And then at the end of the shoot, she's got like a goodie bag of makeup, doggy bag of food to take home to my granddad. I was just like, Gran. And then it was in the first copy of the New Year, that feature, and she's marching down to the newsagents, like top shelf, getting the lads mag down, showing it to the newsagent, this is my granddaughter. Then, like, as she'd walk to the shops, like, she's like showing everyone that'll listen, like, this is my granddaughter, it's my granddaughter. You can just imagine her with it up at the bus stop, like, this is my granddaughter. Just like that. But no, all my family know about it, most of them anyway. Like, my great-grandmother knew about it, but she, like, can't see shit. So she's looking at the pages, like, oh, that's lovely, dear. I'm like, it's the wrong page, I'm on that one. I'm not one of these people that can, like, live a secret life. There's only a few things my parents don't know about me. I was really nervous about telling my dad, because he works with, like, mechanics and engineers, you know? But my mum was like, you have to tell him, because you can imagine if he was at work and they're like, Peter, come and look at this girl, and he doesn't know it's like you. And I was like, yeah, I suppose. So, yeah, I told him, but he was really supportive. Like, I think he just sees it like a job, so I just fit in as many shoots as I can. Because I don't get a student loan, so what I do is I use my modelling money to pay for my fees, you know? And I just think, like, I'm not doing anything wrong or illegal. Like, I'm not hurting anyone. Like this is a good thing for me. I'm going to leave uni with minimal amounts of debt. You know, and I've got friends who are at uni with me who run home from uni to do like a 10-hour waitressing job. And I'm like, I've never left a shoot thinking that was hard work, you know? It's very empowering. If you think I'm the only girl to do this at uni, or like I'm the only girl to do it now, you're wrong, you know?
I've started the panty selling. I've got my own website, lots of photos up of my bottom. Photoshop is a wonder. Basically, it's wearing a pair of pants for a certain amount of time, doing things in them to their specification, wrapping them up in like tissue paper and putting them into a resealable bag. And then you would send it off with like a photo and a note of, I wore those thinking of you. I'm doing counselling concepts at the moment, but I've done everything from health and social care and all the other counselling steps to work up to where I am. I work in a care home. It's a mixture of dementia and people who are okay. It is hard work, but you can't beat the kind of happiness when somebody says they couldn't have been able to do it without me. It sounds really silly, but it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. I'm starting to know what people want. There's all sorts. There's granny pants, shapewear, the tights with no underwear, full back, cotton, silk, thongs, French knickers, boy shorts. You've got your high-waisted briefs, your low-leg or high-leg briefs, your full briefs. So yeah, but I've noticed people seem to like them more feminine styles, so like more pastel colours or pinks, like dainty colours.
And you've created an online persona for yourself now called Curvy Jane. Could you tell me a little bit about her?
Yeah, there's more confidence as Curvy Jane, a lot more business-minded as Curvy Jane and forward. Because when I'm in college, I am actually quite shy.
Now, I hope you've done the reading that I posted for you on John Stuart Mill, because John Stuart Mill has a very different view of moral decision-making. He says things that are wrong in themselves, you always have to look at the consequence of your actions.
There's this one American gentleman who I'm talking to at the moment. He wants me to wear a pair of pants for like 5 weeks, and he wants them bleached as in pea dribble, and if I forget to wipe my bum after certain other things. As long as there's no sex juices on them, he wants them. I'm kind of a little bit like, okay, fair enough. But we haven't worked out a price for those yet. Usually for an hour's wear, it's £15, and then it goes up in like increments. But the last pair we paid for of a similar spec, $250.
So where do you get your clients from?
There's one in America, one in Russia, a couple in the UK, one in France, one in Australia. So it's building up. I have actually spread the word of panty selling to my mum, who is now doing it too. She's online as Valerie Pants. But I've only been into it for like a month, so I'm still establishing that I'm a real person and clients. I'm more than just a couple of photos I've got up off my bottom. People seem to want to get to know the real me, and then Like, I've never had anyone that's just kind of gone, I want your pants.
You fake absolutely everything. I mean, like, my name was Chanel. It's just because I want to get their money. So to get their money, you've got to lie. And you've got to make them fall in love. And you've got to lie to make love. I always had dancing in me. Like, I've done street, hip-hop, R&B, urban, but I'd never been to a strip club in my life. So my first time stripping, I went down at 9 to get ready, and then 10 o'clock comes, and the guys come in, and then that's when you're like, oh, this is actually happening now. So this first ever guy, he said to me, oh, do you want to dance? So it's 3 minutes, one song, 20 quid. 15 minutes, song or dance is 75, and 1 hour is 125, and the club took 20%. So I gave my first ever dance, and the guy said, you know, that was good, but I didn't say anything dirty. So I thought, well, yeah, you know, I am in a strip club. Like, I should be getting down and dirty. So he said, yeah, you know, you really should be getting down and dirty. So I kind of had to, like, move, like, really seductively and touch myself and look into his eyes. And afterward, it just felt really awkward. But it was just because I had to slow, like, every single movement just so he could, like, feel every moment. So, but I did it, and he liked it and gave me £60. So with that £60, I went to Primark and bought my red dress with the low-cut boobs and no back, so they can see every single bit, like, of my body. And underneath, I'll kind of wear something like this, or this, like this G-string or thong, just so, like, my bum, like, will come out as well. But yeah, when it's just the one guy in front of you, I mean, like, the guy is 110% into that woman. Like, he falls in love with that woman at the moment. He doesn't want, like, anything else other than that woman. So yeah, well, I did more research then after that. Like, I watched YouTube and movies. I mean, I even watched porn, just so I could find anything really that would make me feel more seductive towards them. I love fashion. Like, I love cooking, I love traveling, but obviously, because this room is, like, so expensive, like, I need to go stripping so I can, because, like, I like everything really particular. Like, I love my washing machine, like, the brand, the colour, I love my makeup, I love my hair products. It's just because if I don't have all of that, like, I won't feel comfortable and I won't be happy. So I need to go stripping, like, if I want to be able to afford all that and live that lifestyle. So.
In my first year of university, student finance, they gave me half the money. So I answered an advert for a cleaner who was dressed to please. He wanted someone with a skirt so short that when I bent over, he could see up it. First of all, I did the washing up. Then I cleaned the bathroom, made the bed, hoovered, dusted. He's very quiet, so you'd be aware of him watching. I thought it was strange. He was very respectful about keeping distances, though. But there were times when I had to ask, where does this live? Or, where do you want me to put this? And there'd be this really awkward bit where I'd go to ask him and he'd back away, and I'd be like, well, I really need to talk to you. But he was very nice. Did get the impression it was a secret. 2 hours, £30 an hour. The hoover was difficult to use in high heels. He'd be watching, playing with himself. So I've done some cam work. With a camera, it's you, the computer, an unseen imaginary person paying you to do something. So the cam girl thing.
self-employed, which is great because I don't have a boss. But the webcam work, it's really lonely. You lock yourself in your room and perform to people. And no one gives me any guidance. I'm normally doing my coursework. You put everything down and use the silly language that you hear in films, like honey and darling. Yeah, so it's just you, a computer, and an unseen imaginary person who is paying you to do something. They pay per view. There's the private viewing and the group viewing. It's much better for the cam girl when there's a group viewing because every single person is paying £1.49 a minute or whatever. Yeah. I'm a lot more accepting about what turns people on.
I don't like people's sexual perversion to be used as an offensive thing. People who like pissing and shitting are genuinely the politest. Yeah.
You asked to do that?
Yeah.
What was your reaction?
Well, I didn't need one. And the guy who wanted it, like, he was never online when I needed to go, so, yeah. I don't do it much. I do it when I get a bit excited on the internet and spend too much money. Like, I don't really do it now, but I will have to do it this week because I spent £250 on a jumper. It's a fucking amazing jumper.
My flatmates, I mean, they were more, or at least the guys were more curious because, well, I mean, they were so curious to the point that they'd listen at the door, which was just terrible. The girls didn't agree with her at all. I mean, I had a bit of an argument with them once because they thought it was just disgusting. I think the phone sex thing is really easy to get into. I mean, I didn't have any qualms about doing it. You know, I felt like I was exploiting them because at the end of the day, I'm sat there in my dressing gown, face mask on, EastEnders on in the background, and they're paying money for it. As a bit of extra cash, I thought it was really easy. You know, it was definitely empowerment, definitely.
Empowerment?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've just made money from talking to somebody, and I do think there's something very powerful about that. And, you know, it's just my voice, I suppose, is a bit like acting, you know, just like the theatre. I don't think I could have done it if it was myself. So I created Kayla, and she was a complete separate entity from me. As soon as you'd introduce yourself, she would know exactly what character you were. Essentially, she was a teenage girl, American, a bit sweet, quite young, but I suppose I have quite a young voice anyway. And when it goes American, it just gets slightly younger as well. But yeah, I mean, that was sort of her, that was Kayla. As soon as you hang up the phone, you're just back into your normal voice. Like, changing my voice changes me.
How did you feel the first time your phone rang?
I was petrified. Just nerve-wracking. It was really terrible. I had to stick my fingers down my throat and gag for about 10 minutes.
While he listened?
And there are a lot of fetishes out there that I didn't know existed. So that was like really shaking so much afterwards because obviously gagging is petrifying anyway. And I have to be in here just in case I throw up. But yeah, my first call.
In 10 minutes, I just made 20 quid. So I was a bit like, oh, okay. I mean, it was more of a buzz than anything because, I mean, the calls came in a lot the first night. I guess it's more fascination from guys when you're a new user. My phone didn't stop ringing. Guess it's like when a new restaurant opens and everyone wants to try it out. But yeah, I think I made like £400 by the time I went to bed at 1 o'clock. So I was just a bit like, I'm sorted, just clear my debt. I had old guys calling, like really old and lonely guys, and they would call up just to talk, about themselves or anything, and it wasn't even sexual. And I think that sometimes made me feel guilty because I just thought I would talk to you for free. But yeah, people called from the office and they were really normal guys, like from everyday life. One of them was a university professor. Oddly enough, I'd have guys calling up just to have a go at me. And I'd be like, you're paying £2 a minute to tell me that I'm not a woman and that I'm just disgusting and that I'm a waste of a life. And I would yell back. I'd be like, you haven't got a clue, mate. Shut up. Do you even know how much you're paying for this phone call? There were some that were really dodgy. Like they fantasized about underage girls. I remember the first call I had like that. I told him he was a paedophile and hung up on him. But like these people, they aren't the kind of people that are going out and doing it. But there's something in their brain that they just cannot get rid of. I mean, it's obviously a need in them. So they would talk to somebody who was 18, pretending that they weren't. Like, there was this one guy who liked being quite forceful. So I suppose he had fantasies about raping a girl, but would never go out and do it properly. But just can't control what's in his mind. I don't know, maybe I grew up or something changed in me and I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. At the beginning, like, you sort of think you're in control, but you sort of realise that you're not. And yeah, I do miss the money. That anxiety of how the hell I'm going to pay my bills this month. But I do wish that I didn't do it. I was so for it at the beginning because it was just my voice.
It was my boyfriend who found it, an advert, in one of those little corner shops or something, I think, of all the places. And I went and did whatever they asked and with whoever was there.
Let's start with your first time in a pornographic film. Tell me about that experience.
Okay, yeah. So the gentleman turned up at my house in a kind of beat-up car. And you think it's a studio, so, you expect lights and bedding and the stereotypical sleazy director and people around in robes and stuff. So when I arrived at his house, it literally was his house. A very normal looking house. I was extremely nervous. If I could have, I probably would have backed out. But he introduced me to the female that I was working with, and, well, just to see if I could fit the work, really. And we got on all right. We had about half a bottle of wine just to relax us and loosen us up, really. And he said, just be natural, be yourself. And he said, just ignore me. And so we were left on the bed, and she had brought a kit with her because she'd done it a few times before. Yeah. He said we worked well together and that we looked good on the camera and that he'd like me to come back. I didn't actually know at the time, but that first one I didn't get anything for.
You didn't get any money, you weren't paid?
No. It was just to see what I was like, really. So I did about 7 or 8 different films with different people. I think it was £50 if I was on my own. If I was with a guy, I think it was £75. And if it was a female, it was more. My partner dealt with it all. I didn't really know what was going on until afterwards when I learned a bit more and I realised I wasn't actually getting that much for them. He was very controlling. I was very manipulated, and I know that now. But nothing I can do about it. Just look at the positives.
Positives, okay. So what would you see as positive?
Well, I didn't have much self-confidence. So the fact that these people were kind of getting their rocks off made me think, well, maybe I am attractive, maybe I can do something. And it was filling me with self-confidence, quite liberating. And, yeah.
Liberating?
Yeah.
In what way would you mean by that?
Everyone has to feel love. Well, lust or attraction, not really love, but it was filling my needs at the time. And, well, the little bit of money that I did start to pocket towards the end.
Amy, thanks very much.
Thank you.
For sharing your story. Cut.
Hi, Posy.
Hi.
Hello. Take a seat. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us today.
I was 18. Yeah, I was 18. I was in college, getting ready to go to university, doing my computer BTech course. And I guess I was just really tight on money, you know, living at home. And the area that I lived in just had no work whatsoever. Like, every single waitressing job, everything, there was just nothing available. And I guess I just wanted to go out for dinner with men and get paid for that. But that culture didn't really exist here. But I kind of went looking for it anyway. The agency was run by women. So I guess in a way it kind of made me feel more safe. So I thought that I just give it a go. There was this taxi man and he kind of worked for the company and he was really, really nice and like he calmed me down and we talked how it was my first time and he talked me through it and he dropped me off at the place and I got out of the taxi. I walked up to the door and rang the doorbell. And it was horrible. This man who was like horrible looking opened the door. And I mean, he was like fat and he was huge. And my first reaction was just, oh my God. So he invited me in, gave me a glass of wine. I looked at his DVD collection and then we went into the bedroom. And I was just like, oh my God. And I cried. I cried into the pillow and the lights were off, so he couldn't tell. My bosses were like, the first few guys you're gonna get are gonna be quite pervy because, you know, like, you're the new girl. And so anyway, afterwards, he was saying, so you've never done anything like this before? And I was just like, no. So I've had your virginity. And I was just like, yeah, I guess in a way you have. And then he was like, thank you. I had 150 pounds and he'd given me some extra because, you know, like it was my first time. And I was just looking at it in the back of the taxi and thinking, this isn't really worth it. But then at the same time, I was thinking, that's a lot of money to me. I mean, I burst into tears and the taxi man was really, really nice. And he was saying like, you know, everybody cries on their first time. If you want to give it another go, give it another go. But if you don't, nobody will think anything bad of you. So I gave it another go.
I guess I just sleep with men for money. I'd say at least 200. But I was probably seeing about 5 or 6 guys regularly. They're really interested in the way you live your life as a student. Like, fascinated by it. A lot of them really fascinated by it.
Take a seat there.
Thank you.
Thanks for agreeing to talk to us today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the project and I also need your consent.
I haven't seen my mum since I was a teenager, but because it still goes off my mother's income, I only get half the student loan.
And have you appealed that?
Every single year, still classed as being with my family. I get no support off them or any money or anything.
So it's actually for you, 18 years old, it was quite a decision to come to university and take on debt, the university debt, fees.
I didn't think I realised. I just thought, alone. Well, I had to pay my accommodation first year. And then I posted a jokey Facebook status saying I might have to start selling myself for money. And then I was messaged by a guy. He said that basically he could put me in touch with that. When I got that message, I was really creeped out. I was like, who is this man on my Facebook? It's like one of those things, isn't it? You just add people and then they're your friends. Yeah, so I messaged him a few times, acting a bit dumb, being a bit like... And then he was like, he could find me work, and that it would be of a sexual nature, but... And then, obviously, accommodation was due out, and I was getting the email warnings with the red writing. I was going to be kicked out of my accommodation. I was 18. I needed £990 to pay it all off. A bar job? To make that much money in that short amount of time. So then I messaged him, and he messaged back, and then I met him. All I'd seen is prostitutes on the corner street where you sort of think, oh God. To me, people were prostitutes and stuff to get heroin. I knew I was meeting him in a public place, so I went in a skirt with leggings and like these boots, and then I had a jacket on and a crop top on. He was a really decent guy, really decent and quite nice. Not attractive, but really friendly. He didn't seem seedy. I painted this picture in my head that I was going to go there and he was going to have like a knife under the table and I would be sitting there. And it wasn't like that at all. Which made me think that it would be okay, or that it wouldn't be too bad to get involved with it all. Then I started seeing him.
That was the first time you got paid to have sex for money.
But I didn't get paid for that. Yeah. I didn't know what to do, so I didn't ask. And then I thought, that's why he didn't pay me. So when he came back, I thought, oh, he'll pay me this time. It's because I didn't ask. So then I asked him. Actually said it in a jokey way. And then he just looked at me like, what are you on about? I felt really guilty that I just asked for the money. And then he gave me some numbers and he gave me a tenner and then he left.
A tenner? What did you say to him when he gave you a tenner?
Thanks. I guess I carried on. I messaged them and I remember sending this text being like, who's this? With a question mark, even though it was me with the number. It took me ages just to send that text. And then they were like, how do you know that? I spent ages thinking about that. And then I thought, oh God, I'm stuck in it now. I just picked out a number to see what would happen. And then I thought, if he would pay that, then maybe the other guy, I'll ask him for more. Shame.
To start off with, I became quite popular. Like, you'd get all these different types of people who would come in. In the nights, you'd get the young ones, but I wasn't really that popular with them. Like, unfortunately, I got the OAPs. I could only really work weekends because I was a full-time student, so I'd catch the bus in on a Friday night with, like, all of my stuff and all of my clothes, and we'd go to this house where the landlord would rent out rooms, and it'd be, like, £10 for, say, half an hour, and then 20 for, like, an hour. And there used to be, like, this drawer which had a big roll of toilet tissue in it. Once I had this, like, gorgeous man. I mean, I felt really lucky. But at the same time, I was thinking, this isn't that great though, is it? There was this one woman, she'd been with the agency for ages, and she said to me, you know, when you stop worrying is when you should stop doing it, because it should always bother you.
I hate it. I find that most guys that come to me aren't coming because they just want a little bit of sex and leave. They come because either they have a weird fantasy, or they want to have something a bit different, or they want to behave in a certain way. Things they can't do with partners, or they probably wouldn't ask. I hate it. They usually pay £50 for full service. That's what they call it. It's like MOT. They tend to get everything. Sex, oral sex, both ways. I hate giving that, and you've got to act like you love it the whole way through. I absolutely hate it. Now I use the name Belle. I don't know why. I call myself Belle.
You invent a life for this Belle?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about Belle then.
So, I work in a shop, but I'm also a student at one of the other unis in town. I'm going to be a fashion designer. I have 2 wardrobes. The one on my left, not mine, but Belle's. Completely different. What's your favourite colour? Pink. And then the other side is mine. So if my friends want to come in and look at my wardrobe, then they will see the wardrobe that's right by the door. I hate pink. Like, literally the opposite of what I like, she likes. It's the way the whole house is set up, and that's how I get by, is she's really confident. If my friends come around my house, I've got photo frames. So I'll put my photo frames up of my friends, and then as soon as they leave again, I'll take them down. I'd hate her. I hate her because look at what I do.
So is this where Belle takes over in this world?
When I'm Belle, I talk differently. I don't talk with this like stronger accent. I'm like a soft voice, like, hello, how are you? Oh, this Belle thing, like, if there are guys I don't like, and then they believe this completely made up story about me, and they leave thinking they know about my life. Like, no. You don't actually. The whole time I'm thinking, right, okay, 20 minutes left, 10 minutes left, and it's not until that car is gone do I think, oh God, thank God for that.
Were you ever in a situation where you felt like you were in danger, Posey?
Yeah. Yeah, there was this one time, it was a call out, and I wouldn't usually do it, but like nobody was working, and the guy sounded really nice over the phone, so, you know, we went, and he was just too, like, big and too powerful, and like, there was two of them, and on the phone they said that there was only one. So we went, and I got there, and they were like, oh, can we do you at the same time? And I was just like, no, because if something was to happen, then I couldn't push both of you off. So the one guy was just like, oh, I'm going first then. And he like dragged me into the next room and just started to be really, really violent with me. And he kept saying like, can I do anal? And I was like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. And he like tried to, God, it sounds really dirty when I say it out loud, but he tried to put lubricant, like spill lubricant over me so that he could accidentally slip it into the wrong place. And he then put my legs like behind my head and just started being way, way too violent. And I started to cry and I was saying, get off me, and he says he didn't hear me, but how can you not hear me? I was proper screaming it, like. And when he was done, I just kind of put on my clothes. Well, more like grabbed them and like ran out, and he was like, what's wrong? And I threw the other guy his money and just ran out the house, and the taxi driver must have known something was up because he'd already put the engine on, and I just got in the taxi in tears and just drove away.
I feel like every time I work, I'm risking even myself. Like, I risk my health. Sometimes I feel like I risk my life when I'm with some guys. If it goes wrong, there's no one there for me. So sometimes it's better to just let it happen rather than letting it get out of control and you can sort of sense when that's going to happen. But the power does change inevitably. When they give you that money, that's it. So I try to get them to pay me at the end now. Because they feel like all the way through they haven't paid me. I'm in charge. But then at the end, it's like, it's over now and they don't want to give me the money. So it's the power of the money that you take a risk with.
Every weekend I'd come home with about £1,000 at a time. I meant to save it and I wanted to save it, and I did actually start saving it. But you know, I was 18, so I don't really have anything to show for it now.
So why did you stop in the end?
I felt like, I don't know, I was unstable, and like I wasn't enjoying it, and I guess everything just started to catch up on me. And like the last time I went, I had someone there with me.
Yeah. Ian, can you have the chair in? Great, why don't you just move over, Posey? Jessica, take a seat. So, could you continue the story?
Yeah, the last time I went, she came with me to kind of try out. And, like, my bosses just loved the look of her, and they got really excited when I showed them a picture. And they were like, oh, we can show her as an artist or, like, a photographer, and, oh, she's like a model.
Like, all you think about is money, money, money. Like, there's money. This is amazing. Like, you don't think, oh, actually, I have sold my body, and this is not right. You kind of switch that part off, and you don't think about it.
She came with me. Like, she wasn't meant to do anything. She was just there to watch and see how everything worked and to meet everybody. But my bosses were like, oh, is she available tonight? We're really busy and, like, we're really short on people. So I was like, you don't have to do it. And I know it's really short notice, but if you want it, it's there.
One guy, half an hour, £50. I considered it. It was there on the table. Is it worth the... That's the kind of thing you have to think about. I was really close. I didn't do it in the end. The guy left, actually. I am glad he left.
Yeah.
It was a very strange night. I mean, I think I'm very grateful for what happened, because at the time, I think I was quite deluded. When you get there and you meet all these people, they're all really happy and everything's fine. And they come back and they're like, oh, it's done, you know, la-da-da-da. And they made it look kind of like it was kind of much easier and normal. But the more I thought about it, sitting there, well, I thought, I don't want to do this. Oh, and there was a girl there that was pregnant. And she was using, you know, her pregnancy as a way to get more clients. And I wasn't comfortable with that. Then Posey got called out, and she didn't want to go. Posey said that she would only do people in the house, you know, and do the business there because she felt safe, because something bad happened last time and she didn't want to go.
My bosses were, like, being really pushy about it, and they were just being so persistent. And she got really mad, like, saying, you can't just pick and choose, you can't just pick and choose.
And I just didn't feel comfortable. The lady basically forcing her, saying...
You have to do it. You have no say in when you can do your business. You have to do it.
I just think that the fact that she was pushing her to do something that she wasn't comfortable with made it very easy for me to just say, look, let's just go. I don't want to be here. Let's not be here. Like, you have a choice, and it's not good to do something you don't want to do. You're not safe. Let's just go.
Yeah, I think that kind of gave me the courage to leave, you know, to have somebody there. And, like, we just grabbed our stuff and we just left.
Yeah, and I just think it was quite a clear moment for both of us to just go.
Yeah, that was the last time, and I've never been back since.
And how old were you both at the time?
19.
Okay.
It's just all a big secret. My whole life's turned into this giant secret.
Thank you.
Hi.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. How are you? How have you been?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good, good.
How are you?
I'm really good.
There's a guy I really like. He's a uni student. And he's in all of my classes, and he's like one of my really good friends, and I really like him as well. But it doesn't work. I'd love it. I'd really like to be with him. He thinks that I want to be single through university and that I don't have time because I'm trying to get into law, possibly, and stuff. And then, as soon as I got a place, he sent me flowers and, like, really nice letters saying that now I've got a place, would I have time for him? But obviously I can't, because I have to work.
You've got another year at uni. How long do you think you'll be doing sex work?
To get me through my course.
And then?
I hope so.
Do you worry that it won't stop?
Holly continues to fund her university education by modelling for a variety of top-shelf magazines. She has no debts and recently won Britain's Sexiest Student competition. The panty-selling business is growing from strength to strength for Jane and her mum, and she's enjoying her course. She hopes one day to become a counsellor. Joy is currently participating in an environmental protest in Belgium and is still supplementing her student loan with occasional webcam work. Lisa is no longer a phone sex worker. She has 2 part-time jobs and is struggling to make ends meet. She is concentrating solely on getting her degree. Naomi is still lap dancing and currently writing a dissertation on feminist performance and Sondheim. She hopes to work in musical theatre. Amy has graduated and currently works in a travel agency. The pornographic films she participated in are still in circulation. Posey and Jessica both graduated last summer with a 2-1. Both are currently looking for work, but not in the sex industry. Anna is still studying law and working as an escort. She is no longer working from home, but working in a massage parlour where she feels safer, but where they take a cut of her earnings.
I feel like I worked really hard last night and hardly got any money for it. 9 guys, £220. That was a Thursday night. It was Valentine's Day.